What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Atheist Network Group, another edition of Behind the Curtain, and we are going to talk about J-Dub, Jehovah's Witness, here in a minute. But before we do, and my apologies, I was getting ready to pull up this graphic, and I just realized that we have a brand new one that was just created, like literally just sent to us. So let me save this and upload this. That way you get the newest one. There, I know it's great for YouTube. My apologies. This one has the refresher with all the faces. All the faces. Almost done. But what's up, everybody in the chat? Hope everybody's doing good. This is feels good. I was actually on time today. But it's weird being on while it's still daylight outside. But hope y'all are having a good Monday. And I think I have it. And as it's loading here in the StreamYard, what am I talking about? I'm talking about Better. And that is in Fort Wayne, Indiana on June 25th and 26th. There you have it. And I'll be at the Allen County War Memorial Coliseum. And yeah, we're pretty pumped. And we'll have panels, the main speakers. There's going to be some crowd interaction. I've heard rumors that Dr. Kent Hovind, you know, our version of Dr. Kent Hovind will be there, and yeah, it's gonna be badass. So everybody that you see there, whether it's in person or digitally or whatever, you know, has been either active here with us on the channel or they're active on TikTok or YouTube, and it's gonna be amazing. So the only other graphic I don't have up that I'll make sure next time we do Behind the Curtain is loaded up on the 25th. That night will be the after party for those that have bought the $200 package, and that will be hosted at Summit City Comedy Club in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And if you are a patron or a YouTube channel member of TANG, you will have live access. And it'll be Pasta Mike has been very, very generous and bought some badass equipment where he and I will be at the bar, like Jena's in the green room or Biddy's in the showroom doing tarot card readings or whatever, and we can switch over to their camera, so it'll be like actually like watching fucking TV or a movie or something. So it'll be pretty badass. So the easiest way to go and purchase your reservations, you know how we do. JesusIsAMyth.com. You can go there and purchase your tickets. And enough of me. Producer Wes, if you want to bring on the rest of the gang so we can get the proceedings proceeding this evening. And I will start here. Co-hosting with me here as we talk about J-Dub, former J-Dub, all that. Phil, what's going on, sir?
Hey, I'm in a good mood today, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, why not? I just drove across country this last week, and I had a chance to stop and visit Wes, which was fun. I mean, obviously, you don't always get a chance to interact with people you work with all across the country. And as I left there, it's just like, where's Oz? I know the thing is in Fort Wayne, and it was like, should I go visit Oz? Because it was like, I'm so close, and it was like, Fort Wayne is awfully far north, so no. And I'm gonna see him at the end of the month, so I'll see you at Better. So I'll catch you there.
Yeah, we're not too far away from the Michigan border. Yeah, so we're up there. Or up there, as my grandpa would have said, and I'm glad I said that. And my grandpa, I think this will be the 5th year now that since he passed. But today would have been his birthday. He would have been like 150 years old or something like that. But he's the OG. And happy birthday, Grandpa! I'm glad I said that. He was. I was definitely his grandson. Like, my personality and not giving shits about what comes out of my mouth, not having a filter. I thank that man for that. It's his fault. So you guys hold him accountable. But as Jena would say, any hoot. Ryan, what's up? Good to see you back on the channel. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you for inviting me. Thanks for thinking of me. This is awesome. When you think of the Jehubers, you think of me. That's awesome.
Ubers. I remember that one too. The
Jehubers.
The Uber Jehuber.
I love it. The Uber Jehubers.
But do J-Dubs believe in Uber? Ooh, that's the question.
If it's out of this world, then probably would.
Sounds sus to me.
Sus.
And then James back with us. James was with us 2 weeks ago, I think it was, and I last minute got called into work, so I wasn't able to be here. So I'm glad I'm here today. We go to chop it up. James, welcome back. Good to have you, man. How you feeling?
Doing pretty good, man. Little rough day of sleep because I had a rough day of sleep. I don't know why, but I'm here. I'm good. I got my coffee, so I'm ready to go.
Awesome. And as long as everybody's in a good or great mood like Phil, I think we're bound to have a great show. So let's get down to business. So Ryan, if you'd like to start, just tell us how you were introduced and or indoctrinated.
Yeah.
Jehovah's Witness, and maybe a story too that sticks out in your experience there. It can be serious or it can be funny, whatever. And then briefly what the aha moment was, or the process of you exiting.
So I would consider a third generation Jehovah's Witness. So my grandparents were the ones on my mom's side who came into the religion when they were older by somebody knocking on their door. And so my mom was familiar with it because she lived in the house, obviously, but she ended up getting pregnant at 14 years old. So ended up marrying my father and moving out. So she knew about it, but wasn't quite in it, wasn't baptized or anything. But my parents were young and dumb and did a lot of things they shouldn't be doing, and, drugs and stuff like that. But, whatever. I mean, some drugs are fine. I'm just saying, just not all drugs are good. Amen. And at one point they wanted to clean their life up, and they thought by getting religious, that was going to be the key. So they already knew about the J-Dubs. So they got a Bible study, and eventually over like 5 years, things kind of like chilled out with their behavior. And I just remember, like, you asked for a story, and what I remember is the love bombing. I didn't know that's what it was, but I just remember all the kids I had to play with now going to the Kingdom Hall. Like, I didn't really get what was going on. I had that little My Book of Bible Stories, but I wasn't quite realizing what was happening. Like, this was all intentional. Like, oh, this is great. They have a whole bunch of gatherings and things like that and welcome you in. So it seemed pretty cool, and I enjoyed myself because I'm very energetic and I like having friends and I like playing. So I had another place to play. But then it soon became apparent, like at the 10 to 12 years of age, like, oh, okay, like this really isn't a place to have fun. Like, they want you to pay attention. You can't just read your little kid's book anymore. You have to read along with what they're doing. You have to participate. There's like so many rules that go with it, but all the while they're telling you it's your choice. So you think that you're choosing it, but you're really not choosing it. And got baptized at 15 years old because I thought that's what I was supposed to do. I wanted to get my driver's license. I wanted to have responsibilities, get a job. And that was the only means to do it, because that's what the Jehovah's Witnesses want. They want people who are baptized and stuck inside of the religion, which, again, I didn't know that's what I was falling for at the time. I thought it was what I wanted. And then just a few short years later, I ended up disfellowshipped. And I ended up going back and getting reinstated after a year and a half. It took a year and a half and 2 letters I had to write. Went back in and realized I was always marked. I was never seen the same. Nobody ever wanted to associate with me. It was just different. It was always completely different from that moment on inside of the Kingdom Hall. And I soon, years later, fell away, but then made my way back just several years ago. And I think as an adult and being able to be so removed for it for a few years, I grew up a little bit, just a little bit, not a lot, because you don't really have that adult mentality. You don't really think for yourself. And when I went back just that several years ago, things weren't sitting with me. And I just remember looking around, like I was just looking around a lot at the Kingdom Hall going, like everybody is just sat there looking forward and they're just like, they look like they're taking it all in. And I'm like, some of this shit ain't making no damn kind of sense. Like, is it just me? Like, I'm just looking around, like, is it me? Like, what the hell's going on? And some stuff happened, but I ended up just walking away. And then my daughter one day, a couple years later, said, "Hey, Ma, it's a cult." And I was like, holy shit, well, no effing wonder. And here I am. I decided to make a TikTok and tell my story. You're welcome. Thank you for coming.
That was a
lot.
That was a really, that was quick. Especially I hate the terms where they make up their own terms. So I'm going to call it disfellowship, dismembership. Okay.
Yeah,
so you're dismembered.
I was. You know what? Honestly, in all seriousness, it felt like a dismemberment.
Yeah, and then you came back in, and within the same almost phrase there. So I'm wondering if there's a little more between those two steps, a little more story between those two.
Between the being disfellowshipped and the being reinstated. Oh God, depression, wanting to die. I was pregnant. So I wanted to die, but literally had a baby, and I was like, oh well, I gotta live for my baby. Like, I love my child, even though I didn't know my child at the time, whatever that thing was in there, that little parasite. But at the time, it was really, number one, I thought the world was going to end, and I was going to be responsible for the death of my child because I wasn't good enough to make it. So therefore, obviously, my child's not going to be good enough to make it, just like in the flood. So I'm fine. So it was really lonely because you don't really have association with your friends anymore. Nobody looks at you the same at the Kingdom Hall, but they're not allowed to talk to you. And I had some worldly friends from school and stuff. And I even did have one or maybe two JW friends who still behind closed doors would associate with me and stuff. So I had that, but it was very isolating. And I thought, okay, well, if I get back in, everything's going to be better. Like, I'll be forgiven. Things are going to go back to being the same, and I'll have my life back. And then little did I know that was not the case. I spent all that time begging to get back in, and I could have just been bettering myself, educating myself, but I was just spent that time hating myself. And womp womp.
And give me one second. I'm writing a note. I'm making a note to myself to come back to something you brought up, but I want to talk to James first, then, because I have a feeling there's going to be something similar. So I don't want to have to go back to the same point twice. So I'm making a note here, or else my ADHD brain will forget. All right, and then I'll ask you the same thing, James. Yeah, thanks for being on. But if you can do a machine gun version like Ryan just did, that'd be fantastic. But kind of how you were produced and or indoctrinated into Jehovah's Witness, and then maybe one or two things that stick out to you in that process, and then kind of the final ticking points before it all imploded.
Okay, well, basically, I was born into it, just like Ryan was. Third generation. My grandfather came into it. He never actually studied with anyone. He just started reading their literature and decided this was the religion for him, and that's how he came into it back in the late 40s, early 50s, because that was the post-World War II era. He was in that war. And so my dad and his brother were raised in it, so therefore my dad and my mom, they raised me in it growing up. As a kid, I can't say I had it bad. I wasn't abused. I didn't have any of that going on, luckily. but there are always those little things throughout the years that when you reflect back on it, you start to piece it together, and it all starts to make a larger picture of this puzzle that's the religion you grew up in. And one of the things that really got me is their whole issue, especially with child sexual abuse. And like, I know somebody personally, I don't want to say any names or nothing, that was affected by that. And I saw firsthand how it was dealt with within the organization. Now, when I saw that at the time, I didn't realize the extent of it or the scope of it, or that they were doing anything wrong at that time. But I do remember that when my wife was pregnant with our first daughter, I said to her, I said, if anybody touches our kid, I'm going to first beat the hell out of them, and then I'm going to go call the cops. And I knew I was never going to go through the congregation to handle it like other people have, because I knew already that it hadn't been handled properly.
Yeah.
But yet I still believed. So it's a very weird dichotomy when you think about it. But later on, I'd taken a period of about 10 years to fully wake up from my first doubts. And the icing on the cake for me was when I found out about the Australian Royal Commission. And down there, they brought in a whole bunch of organizations and questioned them and interviewed them about how they handle child sexual abuse within their organizations. And Jehovah's Witnesses were case study number 29 out of like 54 in that commission. When I saw, in essence, one of the leaders, so the Jehovah's Witnesses have what's called a governing body, which right now it consists of 8 men that are basically the guardians of all the doctrine and any policies and anything that comes down worldwide. It's those 8 men who dictate that for everybody. One of them was on the stand under oath. And when I saw him get up there and start lying about a bunch of things, and then finally, one of the biggest statements that he said, of course, as a Jehovah's Witness, you're taught we are the one true religion, among many others that do that. But, you know, you believe that when you're growing up. And when he was asked by the lawyer, do you believe that you have the one true religion? You know, in your head, when you are hearing that, you're thinking, okay, this is the time he should be saying, yes, we are the one true religion. This is it. Let's go. Let's go. He goes, well, it would be presumptuous of me to say that.
Ooh.
Right?
What?
Right?
You're the leader of 8 million Jehovah's Witnesses, and it would be telling them that you have the one true religion, and you're saying it would be presumptuous under oath?
Says a lot.
Especially after all those times you hear in their literature about, you know, other witnesses going up in courts and making a stand, and, God's Holy Spirit comes upon them and they say the right thing, and, they're doing the right thing. And then you, the leader of all this, can't even do that.
Yeah, it's before you keep going, that if that's not the epitome of saying a million words while saying very few, that's the epitome. Because you're right. To me, it's was very similar to Jen and I were just on a show with Jim from Atheist Edge, and we were talking to two Christians, and we were talking about, the classical, what would it take for you to believe type thing. And the reason I bring it up is it's very similar to that, only we're talking about a church leader versus I was using Yahweh, and, in this sense where he's on the stand, he's in court, or like when my mom was on a ventilator in ICU, no brain activity, she's toast, right? She's toast. I'm sitting there just like you were in that courtroom. I'm like, that was my courtroom for God.
Yeah.
And like, all right, bro, now's your time to shine, bruh.
Yep.
Now is your time to shine.
Bring it.
You get it's showtime, man. Show the people what you got. Show the people what the fuck you got. And guess what? It was crickets. You know, it's the same thing in that you're talking about, where it's you know, of all the times Jehovah's Witness, and you're one of the 8 that represent all of these folks, the community of Jehovah's Witness, and they're like, and I know they're cheering this man on, right? They're like, yeah, this is your time. You tell him, man. You tell him. Well, it'd be kind of a presumptuous for me to say, so I plead the 5th.
Well, here's the kicker with that though, Oz. Like when that happened originally in 2015, and when that was aired in Australia and everything, but I'm telling you, because in 2015 I was still part of the organization, I had no idea that was going on.
Wow.
It's not like they broadcast these things because they know what a stain it's going to be on them if their people actually knew about that. So they try to hide that kind of stuff as much as they can.
Yeah,
you know, can I say something really quickly? Like when you said that, it actually just triggered a memory, because I had just returned back around that time. And I remember them giving a talk and saying something about not watching the news and something about, you know, sex scandals and whatever. And I was like, I don't know. I think my adult mind finally said, why would they tell you not to pay attention to any news stories around sexual abuse? That was probably one of the things where I was looking around going, I think that might have been why I was looking around. Like, wait, are they hearing what I'm hearing? Wow. Sorry, that was just so weird. I had to think about that.
And dare we posit the bite model? Dare we?
Oh yeah.
Dare we?
Information.
Dare we? And a shout out to, I mean, I know tons of other people use it too, but shout out to another XJW, and is one of, if not my favorite content creator on YouTube, Owen at Telltale. And he uses the bite all the time, but and destroys people with that shit. But no,
tell him to have me on. Thank you.
Yeah, I've been trying to get a hold. I may be emailing the wrong person, but we'll find out. But no, and you sharing that, that is very interesting, and I didn't even know that happened. I wasn't J-Dub, so I necessarily wouldn't be in the loop. But real quick before James, you keep going, and Ryan, I meant to ask you this: how long have you been away from J-Dub, Ryan?
The last time I stepped foot in a Kingdom Hall was probably 6 to 7 years ago at this point. Yeah.
Okay. And James, how long for you?
Last time I stepped foot in a Kingdom Hall was in August of 2018.
Okay. All right. Okay. So James, you just seen or you're learning these things, and I will come back around to some of the abuses you spoke of, because I think that's something that's disgustingly swept under the rug in all forms of Christianity. So we'll come back to that. But there's the court hearing, and one of the 8 masters of Jehovah's Witness are on the stand, and they can talk their game and spit their game, talk their shit, but they don't. So where does that leave you?
Well, I remember it when I heard that. I was, like I said, I had already had my doubts, and I had them for a long time. I even had a period of time where I almost left before that commission even happened. But when I found out about that, and I went through and I watched there was 8 days of video on it, and you can find it on YouTube. I actually put I have a link to it on my channel just for anybody to watch it too. And,
good.
And I watched it from day 1 to day 8, all the way through. And when I saw that, I was just like, I'm done.
It's a game changer, right?
It is, because
they are nothing of what they said they were.
Because at that point I was still kind of like hanging on by that thread, But when I saw that was just that cut that thread right off. I was like, no.
And James, to get down on, and then Phil, I'll let you jump in there. I'm sorry, because I heard that. So you said you're hanging on by a thread, and you said when I heard that, can you drill down on that? What was the clip?
That was the part when he was saying it was presumptuous of us to say that we're the only true religion. That was just like, it was just that, that aha moment, that you get.
Because that's what they drill into our heads. They tell us 100% for sure they're the chosen people. They have the chosen 144,000. They take that number, and now we're part of, they were part of the Bible. So that was the way they included themselves in the whole numerology, whatever they were trying to pull with that. So that's pretty like for them to say, oh, we're not.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
It's in my experience, the Mormonism is it's well evolved at this stage, and it's hierarchical, right? It's very specifically hierarchical. They're very self-aware, it seems, of liability. So you get that that's the first thing that struck me when you said that they don't want to make that sort of claim for whatever implication that might mean about the legitimacy of what they're saying. It's like Trump trying to leave wiggle room in everything he says, kind of thing.
Exactly.
So so right up front, that seems like you've got dishonesty between, or an implication for someone listening to that type of answer of do they actually mean what they say, or do they say something different behind the scenes? That's what comes to mind.
Right.
So so that puts you right into the position watching this type of trial or whatever statement that I don't know if I could trust what this person says. So,
and what's crazy is, like, I've been in Facebook groups for current Jehovah's Witnesses, and you try to show them that video clip or tell them about this going on, and they'll be like, "Oh no, that was faked." No,
that is some mental gymnastics of Olympic
proportions.
Right.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
You got to be in good shape for that one.
And really what I'm hearing there is, and it's one of the worst things like a parent can do, right? If we just drill it down to just being a parent, it's a terrible idea. And if you want to try it, but it usually doesn't end well. The whole do as I say, not as I do, usually fails you.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm hearing, with that is, we would expect you, James, if you were to be put on that grandstand, we would expect you to take the position that this is the one true, and that is the one true God. But me, the leader, one of the 8, lifelong, all I've ever known and indoctrinated into is Jehovah's Witness, and this is the only life that I've ever known. I don't understand really any other social group or social issues or anything because I've been so inundated in this. I still don't have the kahunas to get on this stage and say those things. I think it's overly pathetic and
oh my God, yes.
Oh yeah.
Of the leaders, but I want to take up any more time. So keep going, James, from where they're at. So, sorry, I stopped you up there.
Oh no, you're fine. But the funny thing is, when you come to that realization, is then you have to make a decision, because, like Ryan was talking about earlier, when you get disfellowshipped, or if you leave on your own free will,
right, whichever,
or if you disassociate, no matter which one of those routes you take to leave the Jehovah's Witnesses or get kicked out, I should say, as well, the consequences are all the same. You're still going to be shunned by your family and your friends that are still inside the organization. And me, at the time when I came to that realization, I'm a married man. I've got 3 kids to consider. We were living in Tennessee, close to my wife's parents, who are still J-dubs inside the organization. And so we had to make a decision. Well, first of all, I had to come out to my wife and tell her, which fortunately she didn't believe it for the longest time. She only stayed in because of me. But I still had that fear of telling her because we were there with her parents. We were spending every other weekend with them doing things, and for me to say, no, I don't believe this anymore, would just rip that all apart.
Right.
And that was a struggle for me. But when she she came out and asked me one morning, "Do you believe it anymore?" I told her, "No, I don't." And she said, "Okay." And from there, we had to make a plan to leave this religion. That's a lot. That's something a lot of people don't know. When you want to leave Jehovah's
That says
Witnesses,
something.
you have to make a plan. Fortunately, our lives were already set up well enough that we were easily able to, we left that state, we moved back to Virginia, we knew what jobs we wanted to go to. We were fortunate in that respect. Not everybody has that, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
But we made our plan. And from August to January of the following year, we were able to implement that plan and leave. And that's when we were totally done and out.
And then when, and you don't have to share details or anything, but when, because I know I've heard other stories where when former J-Dubs say they had to construct this plan and go, when they say go, they don't just mean like leave the church, go. They mean like had to leave the city they live in, go. And so are you guys still in the, you don't have to say where, but are you still in the same general area? Did you all together jump town? What did you do?
Well, we like same general area of what, like the
city, whatever city you did live, or do live in. Did you stay in that city, or was it one of those things where you completely left the area?
Oh, so when we were making our plan, we were living in Tennessee. We moved to Virginia, so we completely left the area, and because we just wanted to cut ties with it altogether. Because when I was watching videos and stuff of other people and they're listening to their experiences, they would literally have elders chase them down basically and try to get them and trap them and get them so they could set them up to disfellowship them or kick them out one way or another. And I'm like, I don't want to bother with any of that crap. I don't want to deal with that. That's none of their damn business why I leave or do or don't do. I don't owe them nothing. I'm gone. And so we just kept to ourselves and we made our escape, and we didn't have anybody bothering us, fortunately. So that was a good thing about our escape.
That's what I was wondering, because like in Scientology, right, they will come out and physically try to drag you back. And I was wondering how similar it was in Jehovah's Witness. So
they won't like physically like grab you and like, oh, you got to come back like Scientology will.
No, they're passive aggressive. They just turn their backs on you.
but they'll like she was saying, they'll do it mentally. They'll with all their wording and how they talk, and they're just the way they say it, and it'll just make you feel guilty and just make you want to come back to them. And no,
so they have a, you said disfellowship. So if they're going to try to get you to come back to get disfellowshipped, that's an interesting statement, because basically it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, they want to pull you back and put you in front of a panel first, right?
Yep. It's all about embarrassment.
Yeah. So I mean, you can just walk away essentially, and outside of the guilt that obviously they're going to try to apply on you, and just not let them. But what would make somebody want to go back and go through that, even if you're committed to saying no, I don't care if you disfellowship me?
Well, I will
answer this.
I'll give you a good answer to that one, actually, because I have seen it happen. And some people, they will go back and literally record those sessions because they're supposed to be private.
There's a lot of them.
Even when the elders first pull you back, they'll tell you there's no recording of this. You're not even allowed a notepad and a pen to write things down. But yet they can have that to write stuff down about you, but you can't have that in return. So what people will do is they'll take little secret recording devices and get just the audio only. They'll go in there, they'll record it, and then they'll do their whole spiel about, what's wrong and this and that, just to put it up on YouTube and stuff. Because I've seen plenty of people do that, which I also greatly appreciate, because it gives you a really good inside look as to what goes on behind those closed doors. Because they are secret. Nobody gets to know what goes on back there.
They tried to gank me before I left. They tried to gank me.
Gank.
They tried to gank me, and they tried to pull me into the back room. I didn't know what was happening. They called me up and they were like, "We wanted to talk to you." And I was like, "Oh, brother." I was like, "Okay, yeah." And I was like, "Well, I don't know why, but okay." Because I hadn't really been going. I was fading. I was at that fading point. I was fading out. This was several years ago. And they were like, "We heard that you've been hanging out with a certain worldly person from work." And I'm like, "Well, I'm 40, whatever. I'm like, "Bro, I didn't say that, obviously, but I'm like, well, I'm an adult. I don't really have any friends. I hang out with people. Like, I was just trying to come back and straighten up my life because I thought something was wrong with me." And I was like, they're really trying to, they want to fuck effing disfellowship me again. They want to shut me again. And I lied my mother effing ass off because I know without me corroborating, as long as I don't corroborate anything, because whoever was talking about me behind my back, as long as I said no, it didn't happen, they really couldn't do anything to me. I kind of knew that much about the rules. And that was really like that was the last time I had stepped in there. But yeah, they tried it.
You sure they didn't pull you back because of your toe rings, Rion?
Oh yeah, it could have been my toe rings because I'm a harlot.
They tried to gank your girl.
Sorry, that's a little inside joke. Her and I did a video a couple weeks ago and about little just stupid experiences inside. And she was talking about her toe rings and how they made her out like a harlot because of it. So
yeah, they said, "Don't you know that women on the certain islands, all island women are like sex workers? Not that there's anything wrong with that, but if they wore rings on their toes, that meant they were open for service."
Damn.
I'm a teenager. Are you really trying to tell me I'm that's disgusting? It's just weird stuff they say to you as a kid.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you said, and the same type of verbiage or vernacular is used in the charismatic evangelical movement. Are you hanging out with them worldly folks? Are you listening to that secular music? That secular music, and it's like, what can you talk my language? Because I have no idea. When you say worldly people, yes, I am hanging out with people that live on the same world,
on the same planet. Yeah. Thank you.
Worldly
planet people.
In JW terms, worldly meant anybody who wasn't a Jehovah's Witness.
Right.
You can only hang out with aliens, not worldly.
Yeah.
Extraterrestrial only.
We are not of this planet.
But how about Thetans? Can you hang out with Thetans?
You just need to put me on one of those little things and I'll tell these those little freaking bars they make you hold, some meter.
Oh yeah. All right.
No, thank you.
So well, first of all, thank you both for well, before I said, James, are you cool pausing there and kind of going to one of the follow-up questions?
Yeah, go right ahead.
So first of all, thanks for sharing that, and congratulations for getting the fuck out.
Yeah,
congratulations.
Definitely.
All hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan and masturbating. Oh yeah.
How did you know?
It was the toe rings.
So do you get pinky rings for that, or what did they give you for that?
You looked at my feet and you knew how sweet I was.
I zoomed in on them too, remember?
I was cracking up. That was really good. Tick-tock-toe.
Tic-tac-toe. Sorry, that was part of the stuff I added to the video we did.
Oh, I appreciate it. It's finding it's the reductio ad absurdum, right? Taking it to its most absurd, and I love doing that with religions. Because
it is so absurd. It's out of this world. It's made up. It's supernatural. Like, I love some of this stuff. I think it's super cool, but do I really believe it? No.
Oh, no. Did you see her had a ring on her toe? She's a slut.
Yeah, how dare I?
It's like that shit. It's like, what? Where did you even come up with that? Who told you that? We need to go talk to this person.
Right.
Shit.
They probably never even traveled a day in their life.
Yeah.
If they're Jehovah's Witnesses, we don't travel. We don't take vacations.
Yeah, what's a vacation?
Right, rarely.
So the first one, we'll get into the muddier waters on the second one, but the first one, and well, I'll start with you, James, because you kind of mentioned it a little bit, but Ryan was very specific. That's something that I know really caused a lot of havoc for me and my mental health when I deconstructed and deconverted, and that was, is it disfellowship for JW, right? That's what they call it.
Yeah, disfellowship.
So disfellowship, and for evangelical charismatic, it's get the fuck out is basically what they say. So what up, Pat? And the rage is here. But the loneliness factor, and how many nights I remember, after work, everything, and now I'm a single guy, so I don't have my kids making noise and playing with them, everything, and just whether staring at the ceiling or just the TV's on, but I'm just staring at the TV. I'm not watching it. I'm just thinking about everything I just lost, all the friendships I just lost, all the family relationships I just lost. And those were some of the most lonely moments of my life. And those moments that you would have thought that that quote unquote community or family would have been coming to the rescue. Zilch, nada, not one single one of them, even to this day, ever text or called, checked on me, see how I was doing, not doing. What was your guys' experience like that as you walked away from Jehovah's Witness or the quote unquote faith?
Nobody. There's nobody there that I was ever really. Excuse me. Sorry. I have some best friends that we stuck together like glue. I think we knew we were being tortured. So that's kind of a lie. I have a few close people that somehow we've still made it out. I don't know how mentally out they are. I think I'm a bit more mentally out. But so those people are excluded from my conversations. If they ever see, they would feel really horrible. But for the most part, everybody else, and other than my immediate family, it was just nothing. We would never get invited. I would never get invited out places. Just didn't happen.
See, for me, since about 2006, 2008, we kind of bounced around from Kingdom Hall to Kingdom Hall because of where we moved and our situation in life. So from that period of time on, I didn't really have a whole lot of close friends in the congregation. And I did have one from childhood that I still kept in touch with, but he was always the kind that he was disfellowshipped for a period of 12 years, but he keeps going back. He still believes it. He's disfellowshipped currently right now, as far as I know, but he still is trying to go back. And, but I actually, for a long time, while he was disfellowshipped and I was still fully in, I still talked to him, and I would talk to him all the time. And he'll still talk to me even now. He knows I left and I told him why and everything. But he's the only person that I keep in contact with at all. When I was on my way out, the last time my brother, I have an older brother, he called me. I was at work, and he called me up and said, "Hey, your father-in-law called me and told me something's going on with you. Are you having problems?" And by him saying that, I knew what he meant, having problems. I said, "Yeah, I am, but I'm at work. I can't really talk to you right now. I'll talk to you later." I never called him back. He never called me back. He never texted me back. So that relationship has gone to the wayside because of the religion. And if you ever see this, call me. You have my number. Feel free. I'm not ever closing that door on him. But for now, that door has been closed on me and his niece and nephews and all that. So I was also fortunate because my parents left too. So I still have that.
Yeah. Thankfully.
And within JW, once someone is, told to fuck off and go on your merry way, isn't it protocol then for those still in part of Jehovah's Witness or in the fold, isn't it protocol or policy for them to not have conversations, not have relationship with those that have walked away?
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
Yeah, because they don't have again, like formal verbiage for it, but it's more tied to scripture. When somebody walks away from the charismatic evangelical portion of Christianity, it's we do not what's the word, equally yoke ourselves with the heathens. We're not to be equally yoked with the bad people, with the seculars and the worldlies. We're not equally yoked. So and it's it's pathetic and it's disgusting, because I see so many people in our corner of this, deconstruction, deconversion, that the trauma and everything that's already been caused by and through religion, dogma, the rules, the policy, it's only it's only made worse. It's only compounded. It's only magnified even more after the fact, because now there's this, holy shit, I thought I actually had relationships and bond and a connection with these other people, and now not only am I losing this relationship thing with this God that I thought that I had a relationship with, but now the things that I did think were in my reality, which is these friendships and these relationships, I never even had these either. These were fucking fake. The entire
And
if anybody's ever wondering if you're in a cult or not, whatever religion you're at, you just ask yourself, does this event serve the group or serve the individual? And if you're suddenly from one day to the next, you've become a virus to the group, so that no one is allowed to expose themselves to you anymore. Oz is right. You no longer, you really didn't have friends to start with, because you were only useful while you were serving the greater good.
Yes.
And it's not about how it is when you come in. It's about how it is when you try to leave.
Yeah, and the way I try to remember to describe it is within religion, especially the different forms of Christianity, specifically, and we know that when we talk about it because we're in the States or Canada, and there are relationships of convenience. It's convenient for me to be your friend. It's convenient for me to hang out with you. It's convenient because of these reasons.
Getting something.
But as soon as that convenient piece of the puzzle is removed, the whole puzzle falls apart, right? And it's like, oh, well, thanks, thanks for nothing, I guess.
Yeah. They set the rules of the relationship. Like the relationship that you have with the organization or the people in the organization, they've set the rules that you have to follow. And if you don't, like one rule, like it's all for naught. It's all for nothing. You're just bad. So it's the love is always, like you said, if you're not usable, it's not
conditional.
Love. It's condition. Exactly. It's very conditional.
Thanks for not telling me I was really nothing more than a tool for you guys.
I need to use you like a tool.
Thanks for letting me know I was just one of the tools in your toolbox. You tool.
Yeah.
Just so long as I'm not a reamer, I'm good.
What's wrong with the reamer?
And before,
what about a ball peen hammer? Hell.
Now we're getting spicy.
A screwdriver?
I have to Google that. I don't even know what that is. So I have to Google that.
A Phil's head screwdriver.
And before we get to the last more serious topic, and then we'll kind of lighten it up and get to some of the batshit foolery.
Oh boy!
Not that we haven't already discussed that a little bit.
Are you sure we haven't gotten there already?
I'm not sure if he's still in the chat, but Holy Kool-Aid popped in. While we're live, and of course I'll be able to shake his hand and thank him live and in person on 25th and 26th in Fort Wayne, Indiana at Better. But I have to give a big shout out and a big thank you to Holy Kool-Aid, because not only did he kind of join last minute as far as being a speaker and a panelist, but has been fucking hitting home runs and grand slams and helping us ratchet up the marketing and planning and all that, because obviously he and the team that helps him down in Austin, do the Faithless Forum, and they kick ass and they blow it, out of the park. And I'm truly, truly grateful and thankful for, Jen and I both, his help on that. And you're a badass dude. I appreciate you. So I wanted to make sure I said that before Kool-Aid left. But the last thing, and this one gets, hell yeah. This one can usually get a little more tense and a little more direct when we bring this up, because this is where a lot of shit gets fucked up, man. This is where a lot of shit gets fucked up, and that is not just within the JW community, but just so again here in the States specifically, because that's what I know, and that is this disgusting, and it's almost impulsive reaction within the quote-unquote church to child physical and or sexual abuse, and this impulsive reaction to lift up the rug, push it under the rug, slam the rug down, and then pretend shit never happened.
Yep.
And just pretend like shit never happened, and not give two flying fucks about what happens to that child, what happens to that child's family, and not just right then and there within that year or 2 years of it, but for a lifetime. Yep. And they never do anything to make it right. They never do anything to try to correct it. If anything, again, they just compound the issue by continuing to shove case after case after case underneath that rug and leave it unresolved. Yeah. So, we bring it up, and we can complain about it all day, and we should be putting spotlights on it to be a voice for those that have been taken advantage of and have been abused and have been, if they never have the freedom or the ability or the resources to go to a professional or seek treatment, they live the rest of their lives with that shit fucking with their head, right? And we should be, as much as we can, a voice, amplification, turning up the volume, whatever, for those. So rather than us just complain about it, obviously like I said, we be a voice for it. Is there anything else that we can do from the skeptic, secular community to continue to put a highlight on specifically that disgusting bullshit? What can we do? What can we do to be the ally or be the support from the secular side of that aisle?
That's such a good question.
One thing I can think of as a quick one off the top of my head is, I do know there's a law firm in California, the Zulkin law firm, who has been working on cases with Jehovah's Witnesses and trying to get now, and this is a big point for this, Jehovah's Witnesses have a big database of predators that they have protected, that this law firm is actively trying to get the names of and exposed. So one of the biggest things that we could probably do is, if we can reach out to that law firm, if we have any information on how to get that, help them get that exposed, give them names of people that we might know to look into, start off somewhere right there. Also petitioning your state's congressmen and things like that, and trying to bring awareness on the state level, so that way they can start to see that, hey, these issues aren't just a one-off thing, that they're something that continuously goes on. And hopefully, I know it's not going to be an immediate answer, but down the road, as they see more and more of this pile up to the point where they can't ignore it and they have to take some kind of action against it.
Right. I definitely agree with contacting your state reps and legislature, etc. That's super important, and something I try to do regularly, and try to encourage people to do regularly, to hold people's feet to the fire, because really they're getting away with it because nobody's they still got membership, they got money, they got it all. People are just like, oh, it's no big deal. I don't understand how people just have their eyes in the back of their head and not paying attention to what's happening to their children. They're sending them to the place that's supposed to be the safest, and it ends up being the darkest, because the children are so unaware of their surroundings because they're told that's the safe space and they're not taught how to protect themselves. And everybody there is probably appointed by God. So if anything, you're actually leading them to the wolves, you know, because they're like, oh, this is where God loves me. And meanwhile, it's just where the weirdos flock, not the good weirdos like me, the bad weirdos.
And another thing that I see a lot of people do too is they act, and this is a smaller one, not so much going grand scale, but go on Google and leave reviews on their Kingdom Halls about these things. I've done this several times, you know, just to make people aware who are looking into it, and they Google it and they see the review. Oh, this is a pedophile's paradise here. No, I don't want to take my kids there. Leave reviews, leave the worst reviews you can leave to try to help, you know, those algorithms boot it down lower and keep people away too.
Oh, leave truthful reviews.
Yeah, that's what.
That's what counts.
Yeah.
I mean, not just you know, mean reviews to be mean, but truthful. You know, because the thing is, these things are more common than the average person, certainly within that religion, knows of.
Oh, fuck yeah.
You know, is because you know, it's easy for anybody to wave it off as, oh, that's one bad apple in our group. But as the volume gets appreciated, that's when there's a chance of something happening. So yeah,
right.
And that's just the thing with Jehovah's Witnesses. Still, people look at them. Oh, this is just those crazy people that come knocking on our doors every once in a while.
They're so nice.
They're so nice. They look friendly. They're always well dressed, and the kids are so cute in their little suits and dresses, and you know, yada yada yada. And then they don't really know what's going on inside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the how the children are reacting to it, and it's just so messed up, the public face they have versus what's actually going on. And that's what people really need to see.
Right.
Yeah, it makes me sad every time I've had some couple come to my door. You know, it's usually an elder and a younger person right under training, and I just like I feel like this younger person is basically like a victim of abuse, right? They're like trapped in here to a degree because they don't know enough that much at that point.
Well, I
so
mean,
it's like, you know,
in one way,
sometimes you'll see the elder kind of step in and try to take over the conversation, and I always try to focus on the younger person and sort of ignore the older person because I want the younger one to hear what I'm saying. You know,
that's smart.
We'll kind of two things there, and then we'll kind of switch it up because we're almost right at the hour. So, the number one thing that pops in my head, and this is where I wish the Lord had blessed me to be a millionaire and a billionaire. That way I could just have the money at my disposal to do this. Part of the problem is there's not enough accountability for the head, for the leaders. There's not enough accountability there, and they what's the word I want? You know, they put themselves in their own thought groups, in their own chambers, and all this to where they're insulated, right? They're insulated with all these other people that think like them, act like them, talk like them, and it's hard to get to them to hold them accountable. And as long as the ones at the top have the power, the money, the influence to again lift up said rug, throw the shit under the rug, and slam the rug down, we the only thing I know is we only get louder. That's the only other way that I know that we can be more, you know, effective or successful is that we just get louder. We be that squeaky wheel because we don't have, you know, we don't have the millions and billions of dollars that the Catholic Church has or the Jehovah's Witness has or the Mormon churches. We don't have access to that, but what we do have is a voice, and we just need to be that goddamn fucking squeaky ass fucking wheel that doesn't shut up. You know, and that's the only thing that I know practically, you know, that we can do there. And then, you know, I think, and somebody said it in the chat, and I could not agree more. The other thing that needs to continue to be focused on, and I feel like we do a good job of it, but just continue to focus or maybe put more of a focus on it, is empowering the victims. And you are not wrong for being the victim. You're not wrong. You did nothing wrong. And
Mhm.
those fuckers just shut the fuck up. They're the ones that fucked up. They're the ones that took advantage of you. They're the ones that fucked everything up, you know, in that situation. So whatever we can do, again, to continue to empower the victim and not let them feel you know, shamed or suppressed or anything like that.
Right. Guilty.
Hey, I was gonna ask if you mind if I change gears for 1 minute.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I want to do this before we forget. Wes reminded us at the beginning, and a note. I wanted to shout out to my dad today. It's his birthday. So happy birthday, Dad.
Birthday, oh Dad.
Happy birthday to
you.
If you're watching, Dad, happy birthday.
And
man.
many
I love you.
more.
Oh, that's cool. So it was your dad's birthday? It would have been my grandpa's birthday today. Everybody's having a fucking happy birthday.
So just wanted to give that shout out real quick.
Hell yeah.
I'm guessing he celebrates now.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay. Good for Dad. That's nice.
And if not, he just celebrated. No, I'm kidding.
Right. Now you are, Dad. Boom.
Gotcha.
Gotcha, Dad. You celebrating now.
But yeah, it's we definitely switch gears because, like I said, I know that one gets heavy and can be triggering for some folks. So I don't want to spend a bunch of time there, but let's as the skeptic community, the secular community, the atheist community, let's not just be the ally, but help be that squeaky fucking wheel that doesn't shut the fuck up for those
Absolutely
been offended. So and here we'll spend the last 20 minutes or so here going over some of the crazy or funny shit that just going around and reading and looking into. And some of it was reminders or refreshers. Other shit was like, oh, fuck, that's just weird. But the one somebody did ask earlier, so it'll be the first one I go to. And I do remember this, but I don't. I get the notion behind it, but it's still like I don't fucking understand it. But Joe, please let everybody in the chat know, or the ones watching later, and even let Phil and I know. Maybe we don't know or need the refresher. Like I said, why the fuck can't Jehovah's Witness be in the military?
Ooh. We do not kill people. We do not kill other Jehovah's Witnesses. And we refuse to be a part of this world, this part of this government's world. So we have to stay politically neutral. And if you were to be in combat, that would be.
Well, not only combat, but let me also point out, you're also not supposed to work at a job that has anything to do with the military.
Yeah.
Making stuff for them or otherwise. Now,
Right.
I say that because I do that. I'm a welder.
Somehow you lucked out.
I did. But I work on aircraft carriers and submarines for the U.S. Navy. And I did that while I was a Jehovah's Witness, and I do it now still, but they didn't kick me out for doing it while I was still a Jehovah's Witness. So
Somehow you lucked out because you're really not supposed to. There's some jobs you're just not allowed to have, or they won't recommend that you have, or they will shun you for having.
They will disassociate you if you don't get another job within 6 months of them telling you, hey, you need to get another job. Of course, in that situation, I went back and told them something else, which if y'all want to see the latest of with that, the story on that, go see the video Ryan and I did. I tell about it. So I'll leave a little cliffhanger there.
Yep. But they really do want to be intrinsically part of every bit of your life. Their tentacles are just, you don't even realize it. Because honestly, y'all, when I got baptized, I really thought I was making it my decision. And then I thought, like, okay, well, then I'll be able to make decisions for myself. So if I don't want to go to a meeting because it's now my decision, my relationship, then I don't have to. And was I sorely wrong, because no, that was never an option, because it was, you don't love Jehovah? You don't want to go to the meeting? Well, what's wrong with you? Do you love Satan?
Well, Satan. But we do have a super sticker.
Ooh. Oh, wow.
Laid back. What up, Ian? Davenport's in the house. Yeah, I get where people can go back and forth on the military thing, and I'm not trying to get into the politics, but again, it's one of those things where I for whatever reason, it's not even the same conversation at all, but it's one of those weird, like, why is this God guy so worried about whether I join the military or not, or what I do or don't do with my genitals? Like, why is he so worried about this dumb shit? Why is he so worried about that?
It's weird. They have to, like, every decision has to be made surrounded by how they interpret the Bible, their interpretation.
Their
You don't
interpretation.
You don't even look for a marriage mate based off of if they're compatible with you or you get along.
No.
You look for a marriage mate based
How
off
spiritually-
are they spiritual enough for you and things
Boom,
like
boom,
that.
boom. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom.
Oh,
I think that's probably why I wasn't chosen by a brother. Well, I was actually chosen by a lot of brothers, but honestly, I just spiritually, I guess, wasn't the best look for them, you know, because if they're trying to make it up through the ranks, but I'm not like holier than thou, that kind of looks bad on them.
'Cause I don't want no sister with toe rings.
Ooh!
Yeah, I was like, are the toe rings like notches? You get like multiple ones that just build over.
I don't have enough toes. I'm kidding. Oh, what am I bragging about? Hello.
You're shaming yourself there, though. Really, you need to stop that.
Hey, you know what? Sex is good.
There's no
I
shame.
love sex
That's the thing.
now.
She's
I
not
have
shaming
no
herself.
shame about sex anymore. Could you
Yep.
believe that when I was married, I still had guilt around sex? That is fucked up.
And again, refer to the bite model if you're not familiar with what a cult is.
Yes, 100%.
And real quick, we don't have to comment on this, but I starred this earlier to come back to it. I'll just say it. Come back. But Jay mentioned this earlier. If you have to make a plan to leave, it's a cult. Add that.
We love you, Jay.
to the bite model, and that's exactly fucking correct.
Jay is a PMO. So he's hiding in a religion.
Okay.
He's physically in, but mentally out.
Yeah. So we're like his emotional support. Well, I'm sorry. But we're his friends. I don't want to say I'm his emotional support system, but we're a group of friends who, you know, because the guy's like stuck. He don't have friends to talk to. It's ridiculous. That's not cool.
Yeah, that's
And
a terrible situation to be in.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And that's I was gonna say I was not privy to that intel. So yeah, Jay, by all means, you're welcome here, whether we're here in the Discord, whatever. Yeah,
sure.
chill as long as often as you want, need, what have you. So
Don't feel alone. Don't feel alone.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, no, you're not alone, man.
absolutely.
Isolation is the worst, and that's what they are banking on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when you leave one of those groups, that's your whole social and support structure. And when you leave, you have nothing because they want to keep you from talking or having that
And maybe
outside of
even
the
money.
group.
It might even be monetarily, because
Yeah.
a lot of those businesses are so tied together. A lot of cleaning businesses. Not that I love cleaning. I used to do it, but I don't clean my house. But what I'm saying is that, you know, if all your friends are Jehovah's Witnesses and they work for you or you work for them or whatever, you have business ties, and now they don't talk to you.
But that's
That's
why
weird.
so many people go crawling back if they leave, because that was their whole support system that they
Right.
left, and they don't have anything else to fall back onto. So, important word of advice for anybody considering leaving: have something to fall back onto, and don't let them be your sole support system, physically, financially, anything.
Absolutely. And if you need resources, you know, get a hold of, you know, get a hold of any of us. Well, you know, if we don't have it on hand, we will do our best to try to find, you know, said resources or contacts or whatever to help as much as we can. We do not claim to be Jehovah. We are not omni shit. We are not omni anything, but we will do our damnedest to try to help. But
So I'd say contact FFRF as well. They have a lot of resources.
Freedom from, they have a lot of good stuff too. I do. That's like probably the two places I really recommend people to go to when it comes to, like, if they need they need some real help. because I don't know how I got through. I guess because I had my children who supported me and my husband who supported me, thankfully. But otherwise, I don't know what the heck I would have done.
Yeah, and I used to have freedom from religion, but this is it all essentially channels back to the same thing. So you can find what you need recovering from religion.org. But yeah, they're fucking fantastic. So yes, at least start there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the next one, let me pull it up. Oh yeah, so this one I forgot about. And this just shows one of the things that's so highly problematic about Christianity, and it's ancient fucking comic book. I mean text. There's all these ways to interpret it, right? And all these other people that have their own interpretation. So I come from like we talked about, the charismatic evangelical, where we are the Trinity is the shit, and you can't tell me otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Jehovah's Witness are like, nah, dog, that's demonic.
No, yeah, they're like, no, they're not the same person. No. No. That's bad. Yeah, so, they don't believe that at all. They don't get down with that.
So what is it? What is it? Because that triune relationship of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, is beautiful within the charismatic church. What is it from the JW side? Why is that demonic? Why is that so bad?
I think they think it's blasphemous. So they do have this almost a little bit of messianism. I think a tiny scotch, and then this other tiny scotch where they're trying to be like Jews, and no, Yahweh is Yahweh. No, there could be no other. But he did send a son, a lesser than. So it's a lesser than, still a powerful being, but created by Yahweh. And they want to make that distinction. Now but he has, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, but yet the Holy Spirit part of it was still a very obscure concept. There wasn't no like concrete, like it's a person or whatever. It's still an obscure concept. Like
it was his active force. It's what he used to, his energy.
His energy or whatever.
Shit.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. That was really cool. I still don't know why it's demonic.
Because it's not what they teach. That's why.
Yeah, it's different than what they teach. That's probably the issue. Anything different than they say.
Yeah. So it's because a person repeated something that another person said that person thought was true. Therefore, it's true.
Pretty much.
Cool. So just like every other strand.
Yeah.
A lie perpetuated enough becomes the truth.
Exactly.
People
you just need a few guys to say, yeah, that sounds good.
The average person in that type of group, they don't know why they believe. They've never thought about it, or So when you kind of ask them, and do that epistemology as far as, can you get a little bit more underlying? It's give me a reason that's more than somebody else told you or you were born to it.
Yeah, you wouldn't. I don't know what kind of answer you'd get, but it would be some kind of brainwashed answer if you ever really asked a Jehovah's Witness that. They would give you some spiel. I love Jehovah.
Yeah, I know.
Sure you do.
What I'm after on that type of thing is just a moment of hesitation and like a little bit of a head tilt or something. It's just a little bit of recognition that maybe there's something wrong with what I'm believing here.
Right.
Why I'm believing this stuff.
It's a little scary when you think about it.
Or just the admittance that they don't know why they believe what they believe.
Yeah. Well, but sometimes they're okay with that. Sometimes they're just, I don't know. Jehovah has his ways. He's mysterious.
The governing body told me so.
Yeah.
And I think before I hit the last one here, and then we'll let everybody. I was going to say, well, I'll say it because sex just came up. Let everybody plug and shill and
sex and plug.
But we'll do that here in a minute. But any hoot. Oh god damn it! There's something. Oh, as far as the the epistemology or like the SC or Socratic questioning, like on that, that's where I like to bring the confidence scale out. How confident are you in this belief? You know, scale 0 to 100. You know, and start to because you got to we have to find out, like, are they 100% convicted that this fucking shit is true, or is this one of those like I'm kind of holding on to it because that's what mom and dad said? You know, trying to get that scale. But anyhow, I shall digress there, and we'll hit the last one because I think this shit's funny because I'm a mythicist, so it's always hilarious to me to hear two forms of Christianity arguing about this Jesus fella. So Christians say Jesus is not just a God, but he is part of the triune. So he is God, God that is to be honored. But according to Jehovah's Witness, Jesus is a God, but is not a big G God to be honored and served. That is Yahweh only.
Yep.
That's hilarious.
Yep. Yeah, because they think that Jesus was the first person God created. So when you look at Genesis 1 and they're talking about the us, they're saying that they're making that the Jesus. So God created Jesus to help him create everything on the earth. He created Jesus and some angels. He had his little gang, and they're the ones who created the earth. So he was just first created, which makes him really super cool, but not big G. Get it right. Sorry. I know. I don't believe it. I'm just telling you.
It's like me having a child to build me a house.
Right? I'm going to create some new beings.
So I can have an ant farm in it.
It's weird because just yesterday I heard somebody, I think it was a theist, arguing that Adam was never created, that Adam was already there and then was planted in the garden. I'm like, where the fuck do you guys come up with this shit? Where?
See,
huh?
That's what frustrates me. I'm like, no, read Genesis without all of the rhetoric behind it. There's no Satan. There's no nothing but a dude, a woman, and a tree and some. Exactly. That's literally it. Remove all the other Christian innuendos that have been put on that story.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating because it's such a cool story when you really break it down and see what it really was about. Not that I like it, but I understand why they did it now. But the whitewashing just, the Satan, the evil, I'm sorry, it just drives me nuts.
Really.
Well, yeah, it's the whole thing, but I mean, it really sets everything off. That whole Eve is the reason for everybody's downfall. I mean, that's just freaking, come on, man. Misogyny.
That's thick throughout the entire little pamphlet, 66 book pamphlet that we got on this thing. But the fact that this Satan guy, the serpent, the snake, whatever the fuck you may want to call him.
There's no Satan. There's no Satan in that damn story.
I apologize, Ryan.
No.
I retract. There is no Satan. It's just a talking snake.
It's a snake. It's a conduit. It's a conduit of life. That's what the snake is. That's why they cast it down.
All I care about is the snake or the serpent, the reptile, whatever you want to call it. It tells more truth than God in Genesis.
Boom.
That's all.
I only care about the snake, anyways.
Yeah.
So, and Jesus is still a myth. Just in case you guys wondered.
I don't really think he was. Maybe he existed, but I don't really feel like he existed.
I don't think so either. Not Jesus Christ.
Maybe a guy named Jesus. I mean, there was a lot of those dudes, so of course something like that existed. But
yeah, not to go down my mythicist apologetics, but that's where I make the argument. I'm not talking about a Jesus. I'm talking about the Jesus Christ.
The Jesus, yeah.
The dude walking on water and spitting in dirt and rubbing the shit in people's eyes and that crazy
spitting on people.
He's spatting in the dirt and rubbing it in eyes and shit.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll be in there. Or I'll go on my Jesus is a myth for now. So we don't want to do that. So we'll wrap up, and we will now plug and shill and plug. James, we'll let you plug first. Tell us about what you got going with your channel.
Well, as I've mentioned already, I just had a nice conversation with Rion right here, and we talked about our weird experiences growing up inside the cult, and kind of went back and forth on that. We plan on doing a part 2 on that one eventually. But I do a lot of interviews with XJWs. Did get Dr. Josh on my channel one time. I'd love to have him again at some point in the future, especially after his next book comes out. I'm trying to work more into like the atheist content. And I also would like to talk to more other ex-evangelicals, ex-whatever members there may be out there from religions, and talk to them about their experiences and what it was like growing up inside their organizations and what eventually made them come to the realization, hey, this is all a bunch of bullshit. I need to leave, and why and how those processes took place. So the name of my channel is called Former 2 Free XJW for anybody looking, and the 2 is the number 2 on it. So there's no confusion.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. And then if one of the mods, please make sure you, one of you awesome rock stars, throw that linky link in the chat for me. I would appreciate that. Done. Sweet. I don't. There was a heavenly voice that said "done." That's all I know.
That was my wife, I think. Is that you? Yeah, we're wrapping up.
You heard the voice on high. And,
yes, right.
And Ryan, what you got going on?
Well, if y'all don't already know, that's literally my YouTube channel where I really am trying to figure out what the hell I'm doing, because I'm still trying to figure out who I am after leaving a cult. But if you want to follow me there, I talk about my journey and I talk about all the stuff I'm learning about the Bible. And I also did start a new channel called So Culty, where I sew and tell cult stories, because I didn't know if the sewing would work well with this channel. So yeah. And then of course I have my TikTok, Tax the Churches on the tickety-tackety. And I'm going to be on a tippling philosopher on Wednesday. I'm so excited. Yeah.
And if this is your first time ever seeing, watching or listening to Ryan, always expect all of the energies.
Yeah.
I'll give some away. Here you go.
Always
I'm
there.
sending you some
She
energy.
has the force.
I got the force.
And again, yes, go ahead.
God is fake. Sex is great. Rub one out for goodness sake. CosmicKyle. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Dropping bars.
Right? I might have to use that as a cheers, like as a toast.
We'll do that at the bar at Better.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a good idea.
I think so.
Well, one last time, James and Ryan, thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with us, chat, talk about the serious shit, have fun, talk about the dumb shit, but more than anything, congratulations. We're proud of you, and keep doing what you're doing. Being a voice.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Yeah,
absolutely.
really
Definitely.
appreciate it.
Definitely.
And Phil, I know you guys are jam-packed, so share away.
We are. I'll get to that in 1 second, Wes. We are trying to take over every corner of the internet.
Right.
So I want to point out right now that our Twitter is growing. So join us on Twitter, join us on Instagram, and on Facebook. We had this little debate about whether or not we wanted to have a public page or a private page. So we decided to compromise and do both. So there is if you want to have private conversations, which is to say no theists in the room kind of thing, we have a Facebook group. And if you want to have public debates of any sort, we have a public Facebook page. So, and
Nice.
all this under Skeptic Haven. So let's bring that up again one more time. This is about upcoming shows this week. The first one happens actually literally in half an hour. So join me with, I'll be on this one with Dr. Emily Moravec as we talk about galaxy clusters and superclusters in the universe. And Emily Moravec as we talk about Oops, I got some feedback there. Wednesday, this one's interesting to me on Secular Soapbox, escaping Amish cults. Many of us, including myself, really didn't think of the Amish as a cult thing, but it actually is as you learn more and more about that. And of course, Saturday on Women Atheists Unload, this is such a hot issue right now, an important issue, and we need to stay on this to push it into something finally getting done. We say that every time. But let's push this by participating in this conversation. This one's led by Cynthia and McDonald. A terrific show, this Women Atheists Unload, if you haven't seen it before. So please check those out, both on that one and on the playlist.
And sorry, I was trying to mute.
That's all the breath I have. So
That's all you got.
that's all the breath. Yeah, that's all the air I have.
No momento. I'm trying to figure out why my screen is not loading. What are you doing?
What are you doing? Uh-oh. We just gonna have to stay here.
What are you doing? Oh, there it is. There it is. There it is.
Should we talk about better again? Life will be better if you go to better.
Absolutely, it will be better. That's not a guarantee. Let's be good skeptics. But that's been advertised that way anyway. But before I talk about better one last time, this is going down tonight at 10 p.m. On the Biddy Buddha channel. Biddy's going to have a little conversation. Then the beautiful Jena and I are going to join her. We're going to talk about all this inclusive activism. Is it inclusive? Is it really inclusive? Are we being inclusive or are we not? So we're going to talk about that tonight. And there's a I'll let you tune in for the rest. We got a little article and a little vigia to talk about.
That sounds good.
I think this could it'll be spicy. Anytime you get Biddy, myself, and Jena and on a sheet, that's all you need to know. It'll be good.
Spicy.
But we have that, and of course, I won't pull, just for time's sake, I won't pull up the images and everything right now. But remember, June 25th and 26th, it is time for better. So you can get buy your reservations at jesusisamyth.com. Big shout out to Aaron Coalson in the chat for reserving that URL for us. But you can go there and purchase your reservations there. You don't want to miss it. And remember, even if you can't be there in person, you want to be a part of the after party on the 25th. If you are a Tang patron or YouTube channel member, you will have live access. So you can get drunk with all your favorite YouTubers or just people, whatever, and hang out and do the Tang Gang thing.
Tang Gang. Learn the secret handshake.
Oh, there's a secret handshake?
Is there a different drunk handshake?
Just so long as the Tang shake doesn't have anything to do with a taint shake.
Yeah, no.
I'll see myself out.
Well, that being said, thanks everybody for hanging out with us. Unless you can take us out.
Go, 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 yo, go, go, go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. Build a seed with the negativity